All right, folks, buckle up, because what is happening right now in Toronto Blue Jays land is absolutely electric. And if you are not paying attention, you are seriously going to miss the most exciting roster construction story of the entire spring. We are sitting here in the final stretch of spring training. Opening day is practically breathing down our necks, and the Blue Jays front office, led by the one, the only, the endlessly creative Ross Atkins, is out here cooking up moves that nobody sees coming. There is a blockbuster trade brewing in the background, a rotation experiment that could redefine how this team operates, prospects lighting up the Grapefruit League, and a bullpen puzzle that is starting to come together in the most fascinating way possible. So pour yourself a coffee, sit down, and let's tear this thing apart piece by piece, because today we are going deep into everything happening inside the Blue Jays universe. And trust me, you do not want to miss a single word of this. Let's start with the headline that has the entire Blue Jays fan base buzzing, and honestly, rightfully so. There is a new report out, and this is one that analyst Kerry Miller has weighed in on, taking a hard look at the top MLB trade candidates who are virtually guaranteed to be moved before the season is out. And sitting right at the top of that list, with the Toronto Blue Jays circled as the most likely landing spot, is none other than St. Louis Cardinals lefty reliever Jojo Romero. Now, if you have been following this channel for any length of time, you know we have been on the Jojo Romero train for months. We have talked about him, dissected him, debated him, and every single time we come back to the same conclusion. This guy is exactly what the Blue Jays need, and the fit makes almost too much sense to ignore. So who exactly is Jojo Romero? And why should Blue Jays fans be losing their minds over the possibility of landing him? Let's paint the picture. This is not some reclamation project or a dart throw into the unknown. Jojo Romero is a proven, elite-level lefty reliever who just came off a jaw-dropping 2.07 ERA season. Read that number again, 2.07. In a bullpen landscape where finding a reliable southpaw is harder than finding a parking spot at Rogers Center on game day, that number is basically a unicorn, and it is not like that was some fluky, small sample size magic act either. Go back to 2024 and he posted a 3.36 ERA with a 7-3 record, which, yes, for the purists out there, we know wins and losses mean almost nothing for relievers, but it speaks to the fact that this guy shows up when it matters. He induces an absurd number of ground balls. He gets hitters off balance. He is not painting the corners at 102 miles per hour, but he does not need to be, because his command and his movement make him flat-out nasty to face, especially for left-handed hitters. And here is where the Blue Jays situation comes into crystal clear focus. Look at their bullpen right now. You have Yimi Garcia, who is going to miss time at the start of the season. You have Chad Green and Tyler Rogers, who filled the hole left when Anthony Dominguez walked out the door. You have Zach Pop, Kevin Hoffman, and a few other pieces. But a dominant, proven lefty specialist, that is the missing puzzle piece. That is the one weapon that every contending team needs in October, and the Blue Jays currently do not have one. Brennan Little has been touching triple digits on the radar gun, and that is absolutely thrilling. But thrilling does not equal reliable just yet. Jojo Romero is reliable right now, in this moment, at this stage of his career, and the Cardinals, who are knee-deep in a full-blown retool and rebuild, have absolutely zero reason to hold on to him. They want prospects. They want to restock their farm system. They want to get younger, and they want to do it fast. And that is where Toronto slides in like a hand into a glove. Now here is the fascinating part of the trade puzzle, and it connects directly to another story that has been developing in real time this spring. Eloy Jimenez has been absolutely raking in spring training. The big lefty masher has looked phenomenal, and the Blue Jays are clearly intrigued by what he brings to the table as a designated hitter type or a platoon piece against right-handed pitching. And if Eloy Jimenez is in the picture as the primary lefty bat off the bench or in a platoon role, then suddenly David Schneider, who is a fantastic player, do not get us wrong, this organization loves him and for good reason, becomes a potential trade chip. Schneider is currently projected to play roughly 16% of left field time, which tells you everything you need to know about how crowded that outfield situation has become, especially with Nathan Lukes and Jesus Sanchez both occupying significant roles as left-handed hitters. Schneider is a right-handed hitter. He does not mash lefties, and in a roster construction game of musical chairs, he might just be the piece that unlocks the Jojo Romero deal. Now, before anyone panics in the comments, and we know you will because Blue Jays fans ride for Schneider hard and rightfully so, just think about the math here. You pair Schneider with a top 10 prospect, not a top 3 guy, not your crown jewel, but a quality prospect that reflects the reality that relievers, no matter how good, carry inherent volatility. The Cardinals get a big league-ready player with genuine upside and a piece for the future. The Blue Jays get an elite lefty who can dominate in high-leverage spots for years to come. Everybody wins. And look, Ross Atkins has proven time and time again that he is not afraid to make the uncomfortable move. We thought the Dalton Varsho trade was aggressive. The Andres Jimenez deal came out of nowhere. The Jesus Sanchez acquisition had people scratching their heads before they understood it. Atkins has a vision, and sometimes you have to trust the vision, even when it stings a little in the moment. The other critical factor here is timing, and this is something that does not get discussed enough. If the Blue Jays wait until the trade deadline to go get their bullpen upgrade, just like every other contender in baseball is going to be doing, the price is going to be astronomical. We saw it last year when Toronto gave up a top 10 prospect in Jordan Watts-Brown to address a need at the deadline. When demand spikes and supply stays flat, sellers squeeze every last drop of value they can. But right now, the Cardinals are not fielding 12 competing offers for Romero. The market is quieter, the urgency is lower, and a creative front office can swoop in and get this deal done at a fair price before the Dodgers, Yankees, and Orioles, all reportedly sniffing around Romero, drive the cost into the stratosphere. Get it done early. Get it done smart. That is the Ross Atkins way, and that is exactly what Blue Jays fans should be demanding right now. And while we are on the topic of big-picture roster decisions, let's pivot to something that is equally fascinating and arguably underreported, given everything else going on. Insider Arden Zwelling dropped a bombshell earlier this week when he revealed that while manager John Schneider's preference is a traditional 5-man rotation, there is a very real and actively discussed scenario in which the Toronto Blue Jays open the 2025 season with a 6-man rotation. A 6-man rotation. Let that sink in. And when you look at the names in the mix, Kevin Gausman, Dylan Cease, Trey Savage, Jose Berrios, Max Scherzer, and Chris Bassett, suddenly that decision does not seem crazy at all. It seems like the only logical response to having a rotation this loaded with question marks and upside all at once. Here is the reality of the situation. Trey Savage is a young arm with a workload limit. You are not going to throw him out there every 5 days from April through October without very carefully managing his innings. Max Scherzer is a legend, a future Hall of Famer, but he is coming back from injury, and nobody knows exactly what version of Max Scherzer shows up or how deep into games he can realistically go. That means the bullpen is going to be called upon earlier and more frequently than it would be with a fully healthy, fully extended rotation. A 6-man rotation actually gives everyone an extra day of rest between starts, keeps pitch counts in check, and in theory reduces the overall burden on the relief corps, which circles us right back to why adding a proven arm like Jojo Romero matters so much. More need, more urgency, more reason to get that deal done now rather than later. The anchors of this rotation, the guys you can genuinely count on to eat innings and keep your bullpen fresh, are Kevin Gausman and Dylan Cease. Gausman is one of the most consistently dominant starters in the American League. He is a true ace, a guy who goes out every 5 days and competes. Dylan Cease has that potential to be even more electric. He has upper-tier strikeout stuff and brings a different dimension to the rotation than Gausman does. Think of Cease as the replacement for Jose Berrios in terms of the pure innings-eater role, but with a much higher ceiling and a nastier slider. The combination of those two at the top of the rotation gives John Schneider and the rest of the coaching staff a foundation to build around while they figure out the right rhythm for the younger and recovering arms around them. Now let's take a quick detour to talk about something that has the prospect watchers in the building absolutely lit up right now, because the Blue Jays' spring breakout roster is loaded with names that fans need to have on their radar. In the outfield, RJ Schreck has been turning heads. Victor Arias, who checks in as the number 12 prospect in the Toronto system, is generating serious buzz. Behind the plate, Brandon Valenzuela is drawing rave reviews. Charles McAdoo, Sean Keyes, Jake Blossom, Landon Motis, Gage Steinert, Brandon Barrier, these are the names that could be knocking on the door of the big leagues sooner than people realize. Several of these guys have been mashing during spring games, and while spring training stats come with the appropriate grain of salt, consistent hard contact from young players in live game environments is always worth paying attention to. The Blue Jays farm system is quietly building into something formidable, and that depth is exactly what gives Atkins the ammunition to make moves like a potential Jojo Romero acquisition without gutting the entire pipeline. And speaking of lefty bullpen additions, let's not forget that the Blue Jays also recently signed veteran lefty Joe Mantiply, adding yet another southpaw to the mix. Now, Mantiply had a rough go of it last year with a bloated ERA that nobody is going to put on a highlight reel, but the organization clearly sees something in him, whether as a depth piece, a situational weapon, or insurance against injury. And critically, the signing of Mantiply does absolutely nothing to close the door on a potential Jojo Romero trade. These are not mutually exclusive moves. You can have Mantiply as your depth option and still go out and acquire the dominant lefty that can be your go-to high-leverage arm in October. That is how championship-caliber bullpens get built, not by picking one option and hoping for the best, but by layering quality on quality until you have a relief corps that opposing managers genuinely fear. The bigger picture here is that the Toronto Blue Jays are being very deliberate and very strategic about how they are constructing this roster heading into what they believe is a genuine World Series contention window. The starting rotation has elite upside at the top. The lineup, anchored by names like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette, is dangerous every single night. The outfield is getting more versatile by the day, and the bullpen, while not perfect yet, is one or two moves away from being genuinely formidable. The Jojo Romero pursuit, if it comes to fruition, would be the move that takes this roster from really good to genuinely scary. A lineup that can mash, a rotation anchored by two top-tier starters, and a bullpen that closes games with a lights-out lefty. That is a team that wins in October. Ross Atkins has earned the benefit of the doubt in this market. The moves that seemed confusing at first have consistently made sense in hindsight. The organizational patience, the creative deal-making, the willingness to think outside the box, it is all pointing towards something special in Toronto. And as opening day approaches and the final roster decisions get locked in, Blue Jays fans should be excited, genuinely and legitimately excited, because the pieces are falling into place in a way that we have not seen in a very long time. Whether it is the six-man rotation, keeping young arms fresh, the prospect pipeline ready to contribute at a moment's notice, or the potential blockbuster acquisition of Jojo Romero that would send shockwaves through the American League East, this team is building towards something unforgettable. The Blue Jays are not just preparing for a season, they are preparing for a run. And the moves being made right now, the conversations happening behind closed doors, the reports leaking out of spring training, all of it points to a front office that knows exactly what it is doing and a team that is ready to shock the baseball world. So keep your eyes locked on every development, because this story is only just beginning, and it is going to be one heck of a ride from here to October. If you made it this far, you already know what time it is. Smash that like button right now, because this kind of in-depth Blue Jays coverage takes serious work to put together, and every single like helps this channel reach more fans just like you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you want the Blue Jays to pull the trigger on Jojo Romero? Would you trade David Schneider to make it happen? Are you excited or terrified about a six-man rotation? Let's get the debate going, because this fan base has the best baseball minds on the internet, and we want to hear from every single one of you. And if you are not subscribed yet, what are you even doing? Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a single update as we barrel toward opening day and beyond. This is your home for Blue Jays news, analysis, and the inside track on everything happening in Toronto. We will see you in the next one. Let's go, Jays.